Introduction. The ability to read people like a book empowers individuals to navigate social interactions with confidence, build deeper relationships, and make informed decisions based on the insights gleaned from others' behaviors. In Read People Like a Book, Patrick King delves into the art and science of interpreting human behavior, offering readers practical tools and techniques to enhance their social intelligence and emotional awareness. At its core, the purpose of this book is to empower readers with the ability to understand others on a deeper level. Unlike languages that are taught in classrooms, the nuances of human behavior are learned through observation, practice, and keen awareness. Patrick King posits that just as one can become fluent in spoken or written languages, one can also become proficient in reading people. This skill transcends mere observation. It involves a synthesis of psychological principles, attentiveness to nonverbal signals, and an empathetic approach to interpersonal interactions. The journey begins by acknowledging that every individual communicates beyond words. Whether in casual conversations, professional settings, or personal relationships, much of what is conveyed lies beneath the surface of spoken language. Recognizing and interpreting these nonverbal signals can lead to more meaningful connections, improved communication, and a better understanding of the motivations and emotions that drive human behavior. The importance of understanding people cannot be overstated. In a world where interactions are frequent and multifaceted, the ability to accurately interpret others' emotions and intentions offers numerous benefits. It enhances personal relationships by fostering empathy and reducing misunderstandings. In professional environments, it can improve teamwork, leadership, negotiation, and customer relations. On a broader scale, it contributes to more harmonious social interactions and can even aid in conflict resolution by allowing individuals to see situations from multiple perspectives. One of the primary benefits of developing this skill is the enhancement of empathy. Empathy, the ability to understand and share the feelings of another, is foundational to human connection. By learning to read people effectively, individuals can cultivate a deeper sense of empathy, leading to more compassionate and supportive relationships. This heightened empathy not only improves personal interactions, but also contributes to a more understanding and cohesive society. Moreover, the ability to interpret others' emotions and intentions accurately can significantly impact one's personal and professional success. In personal relationships, understanding subtle cues can prevent misunderstandings and resolve conflicts before they escalate. It allows individuals to respond appropriately to the needs and emotions of others, fostering stronger and more resilient bonds. In professional settings, these skills are invaluable. Leaders who can read their team members effectively are better equipped to motivate, support, and guide them. Negotiators, who understand the unspoken concerns and desires of their counterparts, can achieve more favorable outcomes. Even in everyday workplace interactions, being attuned to the emotions and intentions of colleagues can lead to more effective communication, collaboration, and a more positive work environment. Beyond individual relationships and professional interactions, the ability to read people also plays a crucial role in broader social contexts. It enhances one's ability to navigate social dynamics, understand group behaviors, and respond appropriately in various situations. This skill can aid in building rapport, establishing trust, and creating connections with a diverse range of individuals. Patrick King's approach in Read People Like a Book is grounded in practicality and accessibility. The book demystifies the process of understanding human behavior, breaking it down into manageable concepts and techniques that readers can apply in their daily lives. It emphasizes that reading people is not an innate talent reserved for a select few, but a skill that can be cultivated through observation, practice, and a willingness to learn. The introduction sets the stage for this exploration by highlighting that understanding people is a dynamic and ongoing process. Human behavior is influenced by a myriad of factors, including cultural background, personal experiences, emotions, and situational contexts. Therefore, developing the ability to read people involves not only recognizing universal cues, but also being attuned to the unique context of each interaction. One of the key messages conveyed is that effective communication is a two-way street. While verbal communication is explicit and direct, Nonverbal communication often carries more weight in conveying true feelings and intentions. By honing the ability to read nonverbal signals, individuals can gain insights that go beyond words, leading to more authentic and meaningful interactions. The introduction also underscores the value of self-awareness in the process of reading others. Understanding one's own behaviors, emotions, and biases is crucial in accurately interpreting those of others. Self-awareness enables individuals to recognize how their perceptions may be influenced by their own experiences and emotions, allowing for a more objective and empathetic approach to understanding others. Furthermore, the book emphasizes the ethical considerations involved in reading people. With the ability to interpret others' emotions and intentions comes a responsibility to use this knowledge respectfully and ethically. Patrick King advocates for the ethical use of these skills, promoting understanding and connection rather than manipulation or exploitation. In essence, Read People Like a Book serves as a comprehensive guide to developing a nuanced understanding of human behavior. It invites readers to embark on a journey of observation, reflection, and practice, with the goal of enhancing their ability to connect with others on a deeper level. By presenting the concept of reading people as a learnable and developable skill, Patrick King empowers individuals to navigate the complexities of human interactions with greater confidence and insight. The introduction lays a foundation for the subsequent chapters, which delve into specific aspects of human behavior, including nonverbal communication, vocal cues, behavioral patterns, lie detection, emotional intelligence, personality types, and advanced techniques. Each chapter builds upon the principles introduced in the beginning, providing readers with practical tools and techniques to refine their ability to read people effectively. Ultimately, the introduction of Read People Like a Book by Patrick King sets the tone for a transformative exploration of human behavior. It highlights the significance of understanding others, not just as a means to an end, but as a pathway to more meaningful, empathetic, and fulfilling interactions. By framing the ability to read people as a skill that can be developed, the book invites readers to invest in their personal growth and interpersonal relationships, promising rewards that extend far beyond the pages of the book itself. Chapter 1: The Foundations of Reading People. Understanding people is an intricate process that goes far beyond just listening to their words. Human behavior is complex, influenced by countless factors, and often what we see on the surface is only a fraction of the entire picture. In Read People Like a Book, Patrick King breaks down this complexity, beginning with the foundational concepts that are essential for anyone who wants to accurately interpret the actions and emotions of others. This chapter introduces some of these fundamental psychological principles, highlighting the importance of context and the impact of cultural differences in shaping behavior and communication. Psychological basics. To read people effectively, it's important to have a basic understanding of psychology, how people think, why they behave the way they do, and what drives their emotions and decisions. This foundation helps us not just to observe behaviors, but to understand them at a deeper level. One key psychological concept is cognitive biases. Cognitive biases are mental shortcuts that our brains take to simplify decision-making. While these shortcuts can be helpful in many situations, they can also lead to errors in judgment. For example, the confirmation bias causes us to focus on information that confirms our existing beliefs and ignore information that contradicts them. This can affect how we perceive others, leading us to see what we expect to see rather than what is actually there. Understanding cognitive biases is crucial because it helps us recognize when our perceptions might be distorted. When reading people, we need to be aware of our own biases and how they can influence our interpretations. This awareness allows us to approach situations more objectively, making it easier to accurately read others. Another important concept is emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, EQ, refers to the ability to recognize, understand, and manage our own emotions, as well as the emotions of others. People with high emotional intelligence are often better at reading others because they are more attuned to subtle emotional cues, such as tone of voice, body language, and facial expressions. Emotional intelligence also involves empathy. the ability to put ourselves in someone else's shoes and see things from their perspective. Empathy is a powerful tool for reading people because it allows us to connect with them on a deeper level, beyond surface level observations. When we can empathize with someone, we are better able to understand their motivations, fears, and desires, which gives us valuable insights into their behavior. Finally, there is perception. Perception is the process by which we interpret sensory information from our environment. It's how we make sense of the world around us. However, perception is not always accurate. It can be influenced by our experiences, beliefs, and emotions. For example, if we've had a bad day, we might perceive someone's neutral expression as unfriendly or hostile, even though that may not be their intention at all. Understanding the role of perception in reading people is essential because it reminds us that our interpretation of others is not always a reflection of reality. Just because we perceive someone as being upset or angry doesn't necessarily mean they are. We need to gather more information and consider other factors before jumping to conclusions. The role of context. When trying to understand someone's behavior, context is everything. The same behavior can have very different meanings depending on the situation in which it occurs. For example, crossing one's arms can be a sign of defensiveness in one context, but in another context, it might simply mean that the person is cold. Patrick King emphasizes the importance of considering the context when reading people. Without context, our interpretations can be wildly inaccurate. For example, imagine you see someone at a party standing alone in a corner, not talking to anyone. Without context, you might assume that this person is shy, antisocial, or uncomfortable in social situations. However, if you knew that this person just arrived at the party and is waiting for a friend, your interpretation might change. Context includes a wide range of factors, such as the physical environment, the social setting, the relationship between the people involved, and even the cultural background of the individuals. All of these factors can influence behavior, and understanding them is key to accurately reading people. For instance, the way someone behaves at work might be very different from how they behave at home. A person who is outgoing and assertive in a business meeting might be more reserved and laid back in a social gathering with friends. The context of the workplace demands a certain level of professionalism and assertiveness, whereas the context of a casual social setting allows for more relaxed behavior. Similarly, the relationship between the individuals involved also plays a crucial role. A person might behave differently with their boss than they do with their best friend. Power dynamics, past experiences, and the level of familiarity between people can all influence behavior. Understanding these dynamics helps us interpret behavior more accurately. Another important aspect of context is the timing of the behavior. The same action can have different meanings depending on when it occurs. For example, a person who is usually very punctual suddenly arriving late to a meeting might indicate that something unusual is going on, whereas someone who is always late might not raise any red flags. Timing also involves understanding the sequence of events that led up to the behavior. What happened just before? What might have triggered the behavior? These questions help us understand the context and make more accurate interpretations. Cultural differences. Cultural background is one of the most significant factors that influence behavior and interpretation. Different cultures have different norms, values, and communication styles, and these differences can lead to misunderstandings if not properly understood. For example, in some cultures, direct eye contact is seen as a sign of confidence and honesty, while in others it can be perceived as rude or confrontational. Similarly, personal space varies greatly across cultures. What might be considered a comfortable distance in one culture could be seen as too close or too distant in another. Patrick King highlights the importance of being aware of cultural differences when reading people. Ignoring these differences can lead to misinterpretation and even conflict. For instance, a behavior that is perfectly acceptable in one culture might be seen as inappropriate or disrespectful in another. Understanding cultural differences also involves recognizing that communication styles vary across cultures. Some cultures value direct and explicit communication, where people say exactly what they mean. In contrast, other cultures may rely more on indirect communication, where meaning is conveyed through context, tone, and nonverbal cues rather than words. If we are not aware of these differences, we might misinterpret someone's intentions or emotions. Cultural differences also extend to the way emotions are expressed and perceived. In some cultures, expressing emotions openly is encouraged, while in others, it is considered a sign of weakness or lack of self-control. This can affect how we interpret someone's behavior. For example, a person from a culture that values emotional restraint might be seen as cold or detached by someone from a culture that encourages emotional expression, even though that might not be the case at all. To read people accurately, it's essential to take these cultural differences into account. This doesn't mean that we need to be experts in every culture, but it does mean that we should approach situations with an open mind and be aware that our interpretations might be influenced by our own cultural background. Integrating the basics. As we explore these foundational concepts, it becomes clear that reading people is not about making snap judgments or relying on gut feelings. Instead, it's about integrating these psychological principles, understanding the context, and being aware of cultural differences. This approach allows us to see the bigger picture and make more accurate interpretations of others' behavior. Cognitive biases remind us to question our assumptions and be aware of how our perceptions might be distorted. Emotional intelligence helps us connect with others on an emotional level, allowing us to understand their feelings and motivations. Perception teaches us that what we see is not always what is actually happening, encouraging us to dig deeper and gather more information. Context provides the necessary backdrop against which behavior occurs. By considering the environment, the relationships, and the timing, we can better understand why someone is behaving in a certain way. And cultural differences remind us that behavior cannot be understood in isolation. It is influenced by a myriad of factors, including cultural norms and values. In Read People Like a Book, Patrick King doesn't just present these concepts in isolation. He shows how they interact and overlap, creating a complex web of influences that shape human behavior. By understanding these basics, we can begin to untangle this web and see people more clearly for who they are. This chapter serves as the foundation for the rest of the book, which delves deeper into specific aspects of reading people, such as body language, vocal cues, and personality types. But before we can master these advanced techniques, we must first understand the basics. By building a solid foundation, we set ourselves up for success in our journey to becoming better at reading people. As we move forward, it's important to keep these foundational concepts in mind. They will guide us as we explore the more nuanced aspects of human behavior and help us make sense of the complexities that lie ahead. By grounding ourselves in these basics, we can approach the task of reading people with greater confidence and clarity, knowing that we have the tools to interpret behavior accurately and empathetically. In conclusion, Chapter 1 of Read People Like a Book lays the groundwork for understanding human behavior. By introducing the psychological basics, emphasizing the importance of context, and acknowledging the impact of cultural differences, Patrick King equips readers with the foundational knowledge they need to begin their journey in reading people effectively. This chapter serves as a starting point, preparing readers for the more advanced techniques and insights that follow in the subsequent chapters. Chapter 2, Nonverbal Communication. Nonverbal communication is a powerful tool in understanding others. While words convey a lot, they are only a part of the message. Much of what people communicate is done without speaking, through body language, facial expressions, and even the space they choose to occupy. In Read People Like a Book, Patrick King emphasizes the importance of these nonverbal cues, providing insights on how to interpret them effectively. This chapter explores the different elements of nonverbal communication, giving you the tools to read people more accurately. Body language. Body language is one of the most significant aspects of nonverbal communication. It includes everything from how someone stands to how they use their hands while talking. Understanding body language can give you a deeper insight into what someone is feeling or thinking, often revealing things they might not even be aware of themselves. Posture is a key element of body language. The way someone carries themselves can tell you a lot about their confidence, mood, and even their state of mind. For instance, standing tall with shoulders back and head held high usually indicates confidence and self-assuredness. On the other hand, slouched shoulders and a lowered head can suggest low self-esteem, insecurity, or even sadness. However, it's important to consider context when interpreting posture. A person slouching at the end of a long day might simply be tired, rather than feeling down or insecure. Likewise, someone standing tall might be trying to project confidence, even if they don't feel it internally. The key is to observe patterns over time and in different situations to get a more accurate read. Gestures are another crucial aspect of body language. These are the movements people make with their hands, arms, and even their whole bodies while communicating. Gestures can reinforce what someone is saying or reveal their true feelings when their words don't match their actions. For example, open and expansive gestures, such as spreading arms wide, often indicate openness, honesty, and confidence. In contrast, closed gestures, like crossing arms or legs, can signal defensiveness, discomfort, or a desire to protect oneself. Wringing hands, fidgeting, or tapping feet can be signs of nervousness or impatience. Some gestures are almost universal in their meaning, while others can vary widely depending on cultural background. For instance, nodding generally signifies agreement or understanding in many cultures, but in some parts of the world, it can have a different meaning or even be considered impolite. Therefore, it's important to be aware of cultural differences when interpreting gestures. Facial expressions are perhaps the most immediate and telling form of nonverbal communication. The face is incredibly expressive, capable of conveying a wide range of emotions, often more honestly than words can. People might try to hide their feelings with their words, but their faces often betray their true emotions. For example, a genuine smile involves more than just the mouth. The eyes crinkle at the corners, and the entire face lights up. This is known as a Duchenne smile, named after the French neurologist Guillaume Duchenne, who studied facial expressions. A forced or polite smile, on the other hand, might not reach the eyes and can look stiff or unnatural. Other facial expressions like frowns, furrowed brows, or pursed lips can indicate displeasure, confusion, or concentration. Raised eyebrows might show surprise or disbelief, while narrowed eyes can suggest suspicion or skepticism. Observing these subtle changes in expression can provide valuable insights into what someone is truly feeling. However, like all aspects of body language, facial expressions should be interpreted in context. A person might frown because they're deep in thought, not necessarily because they're upset. Similarly, someone who appears expressionless might simply be tired or lost in their own thoughts, rather than uninterested or bored. Eye contact is another powerful element of nonverbal communication. The eyes are often referred to as the windows to the soul, and for good reason. They can reveal a lot about what a person is thinking and feeling. Maintaining eye contact can signal interest, attention, and honesty. It's a way of connecting with someone, showing that you're engaged in the conversation and paying attention to them. However, too much or too little eye contact can send different signals. For example, staring intensely at someone can come across as aggressive or confrontational, while avoiding eye contact might indicate discomfort, insecurity, or even deception. But as with other forms of body language, the meaning of eye contact can vary depending on cultural norms. In some cultures, direct eye contact is seen as respectful and a sign of confidence, while in others, it might be considered rude or challenging. Reading eye contact involves not just whether someone is looking at you, but also how they are looking at you. Are their eyes wide open with interest, or do they seem to be glazing over with boredom? Are they blinking rapidly, which might suggest anxiety or discomfort, or are they holding your gaze steadily, indicating confidence and engagement? Microexpressions. While facial expressions are generally easy to read, there are some expressions that are much more fleeting and harder to detect. These are known as microexpressions, and they can reveal true emotions that a person might be trying to hide. Microexpressions are involuntary and occur in less than a second. They happen so quickly that most people don't even realize they've seen them, but with practice, you can learn to spot these brief flashes of emotion. Because they are so fast, microexpressions are considered to be more genuine than longer lasting facial expressions, which can be controlled and manipulated. For example, someone might smile and say they're happy, but if you catch a brief flicker of sadness or anger in their face before they put on the smile, that microexpression might be a more accurate reflection of how they're really feeling. Similarly, a person might try to hide their anger by keeping a neutral expression, but a quick flash of a furrowed brow or tightened lips could give away their true emotions. Microexpressions cover the full range of basic human emotions, including happiness, sadness, anger, fear, surprise, disgust, and contempt. Learning to identify these microexpressions can give you a powerful tool for reading people, allowing you to see beyond what they want you to see. However, interpreting microexpressions requires careful attention and practice. Because they are so brief, they can be easy to miss, especially if you're not used to looking for them. Training yourself to notice these subtle cues can take time, but the effort is well worth it, as it can significantly enhance your ability to understand others. Microexpressions are particularly useful in situations where someone might be trying to conceal their true feelings, such as during a negotiation, a difficult conversation, or when someone is trying to be polite or diplomatic. By catching these fleeting expressions, you can gain insights that might not be apparent from their words or longer lasting expressions. It's also important to consider that while microexpressions can reveal a lot, they are not always easy to interpret correctly. Sometimes people experience mixed emotions, and a microexpression might reflect a momentary feeling that is quickly replaced by another emotion. Therefore, it's important to consider the broader context and other nonverbal cues when interpreting microexpressions. Proxemics. Another critical aspect of nonverbal communication is proxemics, which is the study of personal space and how people use physical distance to communicate. The amount of space people place between themselves and others can tell you a lot about their relationships, comfort levels, and social dynamics. Proxemics can vary widely depending on cultural norms, personal preferences, and the nature of the relationship between individuals. Generally, people have different zones of personal space that they are comfortable with, and these zones can be categorized into four main types. Intimate space. This is the closest zone, typically reserved for close relationships such as family, close friends, or romantic partners. Intimate space usually extends up to about 18 inches from the body. When someone allows you into their intimate space, it's a sign of trust, affection, or a close relationship. On the other hand, if someone invades your intimate space without permission, it can feel uncomfortable or even threatening. Personal space. This zone ranges from about 18 inches to 4 feet and is typically used for interactions with friends, colleagues, and acquaintances. Personal space allows for comfortable social interactions without feeling too intimate. If someone stands too close in this zone, it might indicate a desire for a closer relationship or, alternatively, a lack of awareness of personal boundaries. Social space. Extending from 4 feet to about 12 feet, social space is used for more formal interactions, such as those in a workplace or a social gathering with people you are not particularly close to. This zone is often used in professional settings or when interacting with strangers or people you don't know well. Maintaining social space helps to create a comfortable distance while still allowing for interaction. Public space. This zone extends beyond 12 feet and is typically used for public speaking or addressing a group of people. Public space creates a sense of distance and formality, making it less personal but more appropriate for large gatherings or situations where direct interaction is not necessary. Understanding proxemics can help you gauge the nature of a relationship or the level of comfort between people. For instance, if someone consistently maintains a larger distance than expected, it could indicate discomfort, lack of trust, or a desire to keep things formal. Conversely, someone who frequently enters your personal or intimate space might be signaling a desire for a closer connection or might simply be more comfortable with physical closeness. However, it's crucial to recognize that personal space preferences can vary greatly between cultures and individuals. In some cultures, People are more comfortable with close physical proximity and frequent touch, while in others, maintaining a larger distance is the norm. These cultural differences can lead to misunderstandings if not taken into account. For example, someone from a culture that values close physical proximity might be perceived as overly familiar or invasive by someone from a culture that prefers more distance. On the other hand, someone who maintains a larger distance might be seen as cold or distant by someone used to closer interactions. Being aware of these differences can help you navigate social situations more effectively and avoid misinterpretations. Proxemics also plays a role in power dynamics. In many situations, those in positions of power might use space to assert their dominance. For example, a boss might position themselves at the head of the table during a meeting, or they might stand while others sit, creating a physical distance that reinforces their authority. Conversely, someone lower in the hierarchy might take up less space, either by sitting further away or by adopting a more closed-off posture. Understanding the nuances of proxemics allows you to read these subtle cues and gain insights into the dynamics of a situation. By paying attention to how people use space, you can better understand their intentions, comfort levels, and the nature of their relationships with others. Integrating nonverbal communication. Nonverbal communication is a complex and multifaceted aspect of human interaction. Body language, facial expressions, microexpressions, and proxemics all play a role in conveying messages that go beyond words. By understanding these elements, you can develop a more nuanced and accurate ability to read people. Patrick King emphasizes that while each element of nonverbal communication is important on its own, the real power comes from integrating them. Observing how someone's body language, facial expressions, and use of space all work together can give you a clearer picture of their true feelings and intentions. For example, a person might say they're fine, but if their body is tense, their face shows a brief flash of anger, and they're keeping their distance, you might suspect that something is wrong. To read people effectively, it's essential to be aware of all these nonverbal cues and to consider them in context. A single gesture or expression might not tell you much, but when you put all the pieces together, you can gain a deeper understanding of what's really going on beneath the surface. In Read People Like a Book, Patrick King provides practical tips and exercises to help you sharpen your skills in interpreting nonverbal communication. By practicing these techniques, you can become more attuned to the subtle signals that people send, allowing you to read them more accurately and respond more effectively in your interactions. This chapter on nonverbal communication lays the groundwork for understanding the unspoken elements of human interaction. By mastering these skills, you'll be better equipped to navigate social situations, build stronger relationships, and gain insights into the thoughts and emotions of those around you. As you continue to develop your ability to read people, you'll find that nonverbal communication is an invaluable tool that can enhance your understanding of others and improve your interpersonal skills. Chapter 3: Vocal Cues and Tone. Vocal cues and tone are fundamental aspects of communication that often go unnoticed, yet they play a significant role in how we interpret messages and understand the emotions and intentions behind them. While words convey the content of what is being said, the way those words are spoken, through tone, pitch, and other vocal elements, can provide critical insights into the speaker's true feelings and attitudes. In Read People Like a Book, Patrick King delves into the importance of vocal cues, offering practical guidance on how to interpret these subtle but powerful aspects of communication. This chapter will explore the nuances of voice tone and pitch, speech patterns, and the importance of listening skills in understanding what is being said beyond the words themselves. Voice tone and pitch. Tone and pitch are two of the most telling aspects of vocal communication. While tone refers to the overall quality or emotional color of the voice, pitch is the highness or lowness of the sound. Together, they can convey a wide range of emotions, from happiness and excitement to anger, sadness, or even sarcasm. Understanding these vocal elements can help you interpret the underlying emotions and intentions behind a person's words. Tone is the emotional character of the voice and can drastically alter the meaning of what is being said. For instance, The same sentence can sound completely different depending on the tone used. A warm, friendly tone can make a simple greeting like hello feel welcoming and sincere, while a cold or detached tone can make it feel indifferent or even hostile. Similarly, a sarcastic tone can turn a seemingly positive statement into something completely different, indicating that the speaker doesn't actually mean what they are saying. For example, if someone says, "That's just great," with a flat or sarcastic tone, they are likely expressing frustration or disappointment, even though the words themselves seem positive. On the other hand, if the same phrase is spoken with an enthusiastic and upbeat tone, it genuinely conveys excitement or approval. The key to understanding tone is paying close attention to the emotional quality of the voice and considering how it aligns with the words being spoken. Tone can also reveal levels of confidence, assertiveness, or anxiety. A strong, steady tone might indicate confidence and assurance, while a shaky or uncertain tone might suggest nervousness or hesitation. In some cases, a person's tone may change as they speak, offering clues to shifts in their emotional state. For example, someone might start a conversation in a confident tone, but then shift to a more hesitant tone when discussing a sensitive or challenging topic. These changes can provide valuable insights into the speaker's feelings and the dynamics of the conversation. Pitch is another crucial vocal element that can provide important information about a person's emotional state. Higher pitches are often associated with excitement, anxiety, or tension, while lower pitches are typically linked to calmness, authority, or seriousness. However, pitch can also vary depending on the situation and the individual's natural speaking voice. For instance, when people are nervous or excited, their pitch may rise. This is why someone's voice might sound higher when they are speaking in front of a crowd or when they are trying to convey enthusiasm. Conversely, a lower pitch might be used when someone wants to project calmness, seriousness, or authority. Politicians and public speakers often lower their pitch intentionally to convey confidence and command attention. It's also important to note that pitch can be used strategically in communication. For example, someone might deliberately lower their pitch to sound more authoritative during a negotiation or when giving instructions. Alternatively, they might raise their pitch to appear more approachable or enthusiastic in social situations. Being aware of these nuances can help you better understand the underlying motivations behind how someone is speaking. Pitch changes within a conversation can also signal shifts in emotion or emphasis. For example, a sudden rise in pitch might indicate surprise or alarm, while a drop in pitch might suggest disappointment or resignation. Paying attention to these shifts can provide additional context to the words being spoken, helping you to grasp the full meaning of the message. Volume is another aspect of vocal communication that can convey important information. The loudness or softness of someone's voice can indicate their emotional state, the importance they place on what they're saying, or their level of confidence. For instance, raising one's voice can signal anger, urgency, or enthusiasm, while speaking softly might indicate insecurity, reluctance, or a desire for privacy. However, volume should be interpreted within context. Someone might speak softly because they are in a quiet environment or trying to be discreet, rather than because they are feeling insecure. Similarly, someone might raise their voice simply to be heard over background noise, rather than because they are angry or excited. Understanding the context in which volume is used is crucial for accurately interpreting the underlying message. Speech patterns. Speech patterns, including the speed at which someone speaks, their use of pauses, and their hesitations, can also reveal a lot about their emotional state and intentions. Analyzing these patterns can provide deeper insights into what someone is really thinking and feeling, often beyond what their words alone might suggest. Speech speed can vary widely depending on a person's emotions and the context of the conversation. Speaking quickly can indicate excitement, enthusiasm, or nervousness, while speaking slowly can suggest calmness, deliberation, or even boredom. However, these patterns can also be influenced by cultural or individual factors, so it's important to consider the broader context. For example, someone who is excited about a topic might speak rapidly, eager to share their thoughts and ideas. On the other hand, Rapid speech might also indicate nervousness, especially if it's accompanied by other signs of anxiety, such as fidgeting or avoiding eye contact. Conversely, slow speech might be used by someone who is carefully considering their words, trying to appear thoughtful and deliberate. However, it could also suggest that they're disengaged or uninterested in the conversation. Changes in speech speed within a conversation can also be telling. For example, if someone starts speaking quickly and then slows down, it might indicate that they are becoming more thoughtful or cautious about what they are saying. Alternatively, if they begin slowly and then speed up, it could suggest that they are becoming more excited or passionate about the topic. Pauses in speech are another critical element to consider. Pauses can serve many purposes in conversation, from giving the speaker time to think, to emphasizing a point, or creating suspense. However, they can also indicate hesitation, uncertainty, or discomfort. For example, a well-placed pause can add emphasis to a statement, making it more impactful. Public speakers often use pauses to allow their words to sink in or to build anticipation before delivering a key point. However, frequent or poorly timed pauses might suggest that the speaker is uncertain about what they are saying or is struggling to find the right words. Pauses can also indicate that someone is carefully considering their response, which can be a sign of thoughtfulness and deliberation. However, if a person pauses too often or for too long, it might suggest that they are unsure of themselves or are trying to hide something. In some cases, pauses might be used strategically to create a sense of drama or to manipulate the flow of the conversation. Hesitations in speech, such as using filler words like or like, can also provide clues to a person's emotional state. Hesitations often occur when someone is unsure of what to say next or is nervous about the conversation. They can also indicate that the speaker is trying to buy time to think or is struggling to articulate their thoughts. For instance, someone who hesitates frequently might be feeling anxious, uncertain, or even deceptive. On the other hand, a person who speaks smoothly and confidently, with few hesitations, is likely more comfortable and secure in the conversation. However, it's important to remember that some people naturally use more filler words than others, so this should be taken into account when interpreting hesitations. Listening skills. To fully understand and interpret vocal cues and speech patterns, it's essential to develop strong listening skills. Listening is not just about hearing the words someone says. It's about paying attention to how they say them and what they might be leaving unsaid. By honing your listening skills, you can become more attuned to the subtext of conversations and pick up on the deeper meanings behind the words. Active listening is a key component of effective communication and involves fully engaging with the speaker, both verbally and nonverbally. This means making eye contact, nodding, and providing verbal feedback, such as saying, "I see," or "go on," to show that you are paying attention. Active listening also involves being aware of your own body language and ensuring that it conveys interest and openness rather than distraction or disinterest. Active listening is particularly important when trying to interpret vocal cues, as it helps you pick up on the nuances of tone, pitch, and speech patterns. For example, by actively listening to the way someone says something, you might notice a slight quiver in their voice that indicates nervousness, or a subtle change in pitch that suggests they are becoming more emotional. These cues can provide valuable insights into the speaker's true feelings and intentions, even if they are not explicitly stated. Reflective listening is another important technique that involves repeating or paraphrasing what the speaker has said to ensure that you have understood them correctly. This not only helps to clarify the message, but also gives the speaker an opportunity to elaborate or correct any misunderstandings. Reflective listening can also be a useful tool for uncovering the subtext of a conversation, as it encourages the speaker to expand on their thoughts and feelings. For example, if someone says, "I'm fine," in a flat tone, you might respond with, "You say you're fine, but you sound a bit down. Is everything okay?" This type of reflective listening acknowledges the verbal message while also addressing the vocal cues that suggest a different emotional state. It opens the door for the speaker to share more about how they are really feeling, which can lead to a deeper and more meaningful conversation. Empathetic listening goes beyond just hearing the words and involves trying to understand the speaker's emotions and perspective. This requires putting yourself in their shoes and considering how they might be feeling based on their vocal cues and speech patterns. Empathetic listening can help you connect with others on a deeper level and build stronger, more trusting relationships. For instance, if someone is speaking in a soft, hesitant voice, empathetic listening would involve recognizing that they might be feeling vulnerable or unsure and responding in a way that shows understanding and support. This might mean offering reassurance, asking gentle follow-up questions, or simply giving them the space to express themselves without judgment. By developing these listening skills, you can become more adept at interpreting vocal cues and understanding the subtext of conversations. This will not only help you communicate more effectively, but also enable you to better understand the emotions and intentions of others. In conclusion, vocal cues and tone are essential aspects of communication that provide valuable insights into a person's emotions and intentions. By paying attention to elements such as tone, pitch, volume, speech patterns, and pauses, you can gain a deeper understanding of what someone is really saying, beyond the words themselves. Developing strong listening skills, including active, reflective, and empathetic listening, is key to accurately interpreting these vocal cues and improving your ability to read people. As Patrick King emphasizes in Read People Like a Book, mastering the art of listening and interpreting vocal cues can greatly enhance your interpersonal skills and help you navigate social situations with greater confidence and insight. Chapter 4: Behavioral Patterns. Behavioral patterns are an integral part of understanding people. They offer deep insights into a person's character, intentions, and emotional state. By observing how someone consistently acts in various situations, you can begin to predict how they might behave in the future and understand what drives their actions. This chapter will explore how to recognize and interpret these patterns, the importance of establishing a baseline for normal behavior, and the role of triggers in shaping responses. Drawing on the insights from Patrick King's Read People Like a Book, we will dive into how these elements work together to help you read people more effectively. Patterns of behavior. Every person has a set of behaviors that they tend to repeat in different situations. These behavioral patterns are shaped by a variety of factors, including personality, past experiences, and the environment. By recognizing these patterns, you can gain a better understanding of how someone thinks and feels, as well as anticipate how they might act in the future. Behavioral patterns can be observed in the way someone reacts to stress, handles conflict, or interacts with others. For instance, if a person consistently becomes defensive when criticized, this is a pattern that can tell you a lot about their sensitivity to feedback and their self-esteem. Similarly, someone who always seeks to avoid confrontation may be conflict averse, preferring to maintain peace even at the expense of their own needs. To identify these patterns, it's important to observe how a person behaves across different contexts and over time. Single instances of behavior might not reveal much, but when you notice the same actions or reactions occurring repeatedly, they form a pattern that can be indicative of deeper personality traits or emotional states. For example, consider a colleague who always volunteers to take on additional tasks. While this might seem like a positive trait, if it happens consistently, it might indicate that they are seeking approval or struggling with saying no, potentially leading to burnout. On the other hand, someone who frequently changes their story or gives inconsistent answers might have a pattern of deception or uncertainty, suggesting that they are hiding something or are uncomfortable with the truth. By paying attention to these patterns, you can start to piece together a more complete picture of the person's underlying motivations and how they navigate the world. This awareness can be especially useful in both personal and professional relationships, where understanding someone's behavioral tendencies can help you communicate more effectively and manage expectations. Consistent reactions to specific situations can also reveal a person's values and priorities. For example, someone who always takes charge in group settings likely values leadership and control, while someone who consistently defers to others may prioritize harmony or might lack confidence. These patterns are not just about understanding behavior in isolation, but about seeing how it fits into the broader context of the person's life. Moreover, recognizing behavioral patterns can help you predict future actions. If you know that someone tends to withdraw when stressed, you can anticipate this behavior during challenging times and respond in a way that supports them. Similarly, if someone consistently seeks validation, you can provide the reassurance they need to feel secure. Patrick King emphasizes that understanding these patterns requires a combination of observation, empathy, and analysis. It's not just about noticing what people do, but also about considering why they do it and how it fits into the larger framework of their personality and life experiences. Baseline behavior. To accurately interpret someone's behavior, it's crucial to understand what is normal for them, what King refers to as their baseline behavior. This baseline is essentially a reference point that represents how a person typically acts when they are not under stress or trying to deceive. By establishing this baseline, you can more easily spot deviations that might indicate something is amiss, such as stress, discomfort, or dishonesty. Establishing a baseline involves observing a person over time and in different situations to understand how they generally behave. For example, you might notice that a friend usually speaks calmly and maintains eye contact during conversations. This calm demeanor becomes their baseline. If you suddenly notice that they are fidgeting, avoiding eye contact, or speaking in a hurried manner, it could indicate that they are anxious or hiding something. King suggests paying attention to both verbal and nonverbal cues when establishing a baseline. This includes how a person typically speaks, their tone, pitch, and pace, their body language, posture, gestures, and facial expressions, and their overall demeanor. Understanding these elements in their normal state allows you to detect when something changes. Deviations from baseline behavior are often key indicators that something is not right. For instance, if someone who is usually open and communicative suddenly becomes withdrawn and quiet, it might suggest that they are upset or dealing with a personal issue. Similarly, if a person who is normally relaxed and easygoing becomes tense and irritable, it could indicate that they are under stress or feeling threatened. In some cases, these deviations might be subtle, such as a slight change in tone or a brief hesitation before answering a question. However, even small shifts in behavior can be significant, especially if they occur in situations where you would expect the person to be at ease. For example, a slight increase in speech speed or a minor change in posture could reveal that someone is uncomfortable with a particular topic of conversation. By comparing a person's current behavior to their baseline, you can gain insights into their emotional state and the potential reasons behind their actions. This is particularly useful in situations where someone might be trying to hide their true feelings or intentions. For example, if someone usually makes eye contact when speaking but suddenly starts avoiding it, it might suggest that they are not being entirely honest or are feeling guilty about something. Context is also crucial when interpreting deviations from baseline behavior. A change in behavior might not always indicate something negative. It could simply be a response to a different environment or social setting. For instance, someone who is typically outgoing and talkative might become quieter in a formal setting, not because they are upset, but because they feel it's more appropriate to be reserved in that context. Similarly, cultural factors can influence baseline behavior. What is considered normal behavior in one culture might be seen as unusual or even inappropriate in another. For example, in some cultures, it's normal to maintain a more reserved and formal demeanor in public, while in others, being expressive and outgoing is the norm. Understanding these cultural differences is essential when establishing a baseline for behavior and interpreting deviations. Patrick King also highlights the importance of considering situational factors when evaluating baseline behavior. Stressful situations, for example, can cause temporary changes in behavior that might not reflect a person's true nature. A normally calm and composed individual might become agitated or defensive when under pressure, but this doesn't necessarily mean that they are always like this. It's important to consider the circumstances and not jump to conclusions based on a single observation. To effectively use baseline behavior as a tool for reading people, it's essential to gather as much information as possible about the person and the context in which they are acting. This means being patient and observant, as well as being aware of your own biases and assumptions. It's easy to misinterpret someone's behavior if you don't have a clear understanding of their baseline or if you allow preconceived notions to cloud your judgment. Triggers and responses. Understanding what triggers certain behaviors and how people typically respond is another key aspect of reading people. Triggers are events, situations, or stimuli that provoke a specific reaction, while responses are the behaviors that follow. By identifying these triggers and understanding the typical responses they elicit, you can gain deeper insights into a person's emotional state and behavior patterns. Triggers can vary widely from person to person and can be influenced by past experiences, personality traits, and current circumstances. For example, someone who has had negative experiences with authority figures might be triggered by criticism from a boss, leading them to become defensive or shut down. On the other hand, a person who values recognition might be triggered by praise, leading them to work even harder or seek more opportunities to stand out. Emotional triggers are particularly important to recognize, as they often reveal deep-seated fears, insecurities, or desires. For instance, someone who has a fear of rejection might be triggered by perceived slights or dismissive behavior, causing them to withdraw or become overly accommodating in an effort to avoid conflict. Similarly, someone who is driven by a need for control might be triggered by situations where they feel powerless, leading to behaviors such as micromanaging or becoming overly critical of others. By identifying these triggers, you can better understand why a person behaves the way they do in certain situations. This can also help you predict how they might react in similar circumstances in the future. For example, if you know that a colleague tends to react negatively to last-minute changes, you can anticipate that they might become stressed or frustrated if a project deadline is suddenly moved up. This awareness allows you to manage the situation more effectively, either by preparing the person in advance or by offering additional support. Responses to triggers can vary depending on the individual and the situation. Some people might react immediately and intensely, while others might take time to process their emotions before responding. Understanding these typical responses is crucial for interpreting behavior accurately. For example, someone who is triggered by criticism might respond by immediately defending themselves or blaming others. This defensive behavior is a response to the emotional discomfort caused by the trigger and is often an attempt to protect their self-esteem. On the other hand, someone who is more introspective might respond to the same trigger by withdrawing and reflecting on the feedback before deciding how to act. It's also important to recognize that people might not always be aware of their own triggers and responses. These reactions can be automatic and deeply ingrained, stemming from long-held beliefs or past experiences. In some cases, a person's response to a trigger might seem out of proportion to the situation, which can be confusing or even alarming to others. However, understanding the underlying trigger can provide clarity and help you respond with empathy and understanding. Patterns of triggers and responses can also provide valuable insights into a person's coping mechanisms and emotional resilience. For instance, someone who consistently reacts to stress by seeking out support from friends or family might have a strong social support network and be more resilient in the face of challenges. Conversely, someone who tends to isolate themselves when triggered might struggle with coping and could benefit from learning healthier ways to manage their emotions. In some cases, identifying triggers and responses can also help you influence or change behavior. For example, if you know that a particular trigger causes someone to become anxious, you might be able to reduce their anxiety by addressing the trigger directly or by helping them reframe the situation in a more positive light. Similarly, by recognizing a person's typical response to a trigger, you can tailor your communication or behavior to help them feel more comfortable and supported. Patrick King emphasizes that understanding triggers and responses requires a combination of observation, empathy, and psychological insight. It's not just about noticing how people react, but also about understanding why they react the way they do and how these reactions fit into the broader context of their behavior and personality. Context plays a critical role in interpreting triggers and responses. A person's reaction to a trigger can be influenced by the environment, the people involved, and the specific circumstances of the situation. For example, someone might respond differently to the same trigger when they are at work versus when they are at home, depending on the expectations and norms of each setting. Cultural factors can also influence how people respond to triggers. In some cultures, it might be considered inappropriate to show strong emotions in public, leading people to suppress their reactions even when they are triggered. In other cultures, expressing emotions openly might be encouraged, resulting in more visible and immediate responses to triggers. By taking these contextual factors into account, you can gain a more accurate understanding of a person's behavior and avoid misinterpretations. It's also important to recognize that people's responses to triggers can change over time as they grow and develop new coping strategies. What might have been a strong trigger for someone in the past might no longer elicit the same response after they have worked through their underlying issues or developed greater emotional resilience. In summary, understanding behavioral patterns, baseline behavior, and triggers and responses are essential skills for reading people effectively. By observing how people consistently act, establishing what is normal for them, and recognizing what triggers their emotions and actions, you can gain deeper insights into their character and motivations. Patrick King's Read People Like a Book provides valuable guidance on how to develop these skills and apply them in everyday interactions. With practice and attention to detail, you can become more adept at interpreting the behaviors of those around you and navigating social situations with greater confidence and understanding. Chapter 5: Lie Detection and Deception. Detecting lies and understanding deception have long intrigued people, from law enforcement professionals to individuals navigating daily interactions. The ability to discern truth from falsehood holds significant implications for personal relationships, professional success, and social dynamics. In this chapter, we explore the signs of deception, delve into the psychology behind why people lie, and discuss practical techniques for identifying lies in real time. Drawing from Patrick King's Read People Like a Book, we aim to simplify the complex nature of lie detection, making it accessible for anyone looking to enhance their ability to read people. Signs of deception. Detecting lies involves observing a range of verbal and nonverbal cues that may suggest someone is not being entirely truthful. It's crucial to recognize that no single sign definitively proves deceit. Instead, the combination of multiple indicators within the context of the situation can raise suspicion. Nonverbal cues. Body language is one of the most telling indicators when it comes to detecting deception. People often unconsciously exhibit certain physical behaviors when they lie, driven by the stress or cognitive load of fabricating a story. One key indicator is inconsistent facial expressions. When a person's facial expression doesn't align with their words, it can signal deception. For example, someone might claim to be happy, yet their smile doesn't reach their eyes, or they might frown slightly when discussing something supposedly positive. These subtle mismatches suggest that their emotional response might not be genuine. Microexpressions, fleeting and involuntary facial expressions, also reveal true emotions. Even if these expressions last only for a split second, they can be powerful indicators of deception, such as a brief flash of fear or guilt before the face returns to a neutral or controlled expression. Spotting these requires practice, but they are invaluable in detecting lies. Eye movements can also betray a liar. While it's commonly said that the eyes are the windows to the soul, this holds some truth in lie detection. Liars might avoid eye contact, or conversely, may hold eye contact too intensely in an attempt to appear honest. Rapid blinking or changes in pupil size are physiological responses to stress, often associated with lying. Body posture is another telling sign. A person who is lying may exhibit closed or defensive body language, such as crossing their arms, turning their body away from the person they're speaking to, or shielding themselves with objects like a bag or a cup. They may also physically distance themselves from the person they're deceiving, subtly leaning back or shifting away. Fidgeting is a common response to the nervousness or discomfort associated with lying. Self-soothing behaviors, such as touching the face, neck, or hair, can be subconscious attempts to release tension, signaling that the person may be lying. Incongruent gestures are another red flag. When gestures don't match the verbal message, like nodding while saying no, or shaking the head while saying yes, it suggests deception. The timing of gestures can also be off, such as when someone gestures after they speak instead of in sync with their words. Microgestures, like microexpressions, are tiny, often subconscious movements that can betray a lie. These might include slight twitches of the hands, fingers, or facial muscles. Although subtle, these gestures can be detected with careful observation. Verbal cues. While nonverbal cues are often emphasized in lie detection, verbal cues also provide significant insights. The way someone speaks, the words they choose, and how they structure their sentences can reveal potential deception. Vagueness is one common verbal cue. A person who is lying may avoid providing specific details, speaking in generalities instead. For instance, instead of stating, "I was at the grocery store from 5 to 6 p.m., they might say, "I ran some errands." This lack of specificity can indicate that they're trying to avoid being caught in a lie. On the other hand, some liars provide overly detailed accounts, offering excessive information to make their story seem more believable. This overcompensation can be a red flag, especially if the details seem irrelevant or if the person insists on recounting them multiple times. Contradictions are another clue to deception. A liar may contradict themselves within the same conversation or over time, changing the order of events or the specifics of their story. These inconsistencies suggest that the person is not being truthful. Hesitations and pauses during speech are also telling. When someone is lying, they may hesitate before responding, as they need more time to construct their lie. These pauses are particularly noticeable if they occur in the middle of a sentence or after a simple question that should require little thought. Speech patterns can change when someone is lying. They might speak more slowly or with more stammering as they carefully consider what to say. Alternatively, some may speak more quickly, trying to rush through their story before they can be caught in a lie. Distancing language is another verbal cue. When people lie, they may unconsciously distance themselves from the lie by using more formal or less personal language. For example, instead of saying, "I didn't do it," they might say, "That wasn't done by me." This linguistic distancing serves to separate themselves from the dishonesty. Unnecessary justifications often accompany lies. A person who is lying might offer explanations that were not asked for, attempting to preempt any doubts. This overjustification indicates that they are trying to convince you of something that isn't true. Sometimes, a liar might accidentally reveal the truth through a slip of the tongue, known as a Freudian slip. These verbal errors are particularly revealing, especially if the person quickly tries to correct themselves or becomes flustered afterward. Finally, unnatural expressions of emotion can indicate deception. When someone is lying, their verbal expressions of emotion might not match their actual feelings. For instance, they might say they're excited or happy, but their tone is flat or lacks enthusiasm, revealing a mismatch between their words and true emotions. Why people lie. Understanding the reasons behind why people lie can provide important context when attempting to detect deception. People lie for various reasons, and these motivations can influence how they lie and how easy it is to detect their lies. Self-preservation. One of the most common reasons people lie is to protect themselves. This might involve avoiding punishment, protecting their reputation, or escaping an uncomfortable situation. For example, a child might lie about completing their homework to avoid getting in trouble, or an employee might lie about the progress of a project to avoid appearing incompetent. Lies for self-preservation are often driven by fear, fear of consequences, fear of judgment, or fear of losing something valuable. Because these lies are typically about protecting oneself, they can be accompanied by signs of anxiety or stress, making them potentially easier to detect. Protecting others. People also lie to protect others, whether to spare someone's feelings, maintain harmony, or prevent harm. These lies are often referred to as white lies and are generally considered more socially acceptable. For example, Someone might lie about liking a friend's new haircut to avoid hurting their feelings, or they might tell a white lie to smooth over a social situation. Lies to protect others are usually motivated by empathy and a desire to maintain positive relationships. These lies might be harder to detect, as the liar may not experience the same level of anxiety or guilt as they would when lying for self-preservation. However, even these lies can leave subtle clues, especially if the person is uncomfortable with being dishonest, even for a good cause. Gaining advantage. Another reason people lie is to gain some form of advantage, whether it's financial, social, or otherwise. This includes lies told to manipulate others, achieve personal goals, or gain power. For example, someone might lie on their resume to get a job, exaggerate their achievements to impress others, or deceive a romantic partner to maintain control in a relationship. Lies for personal gain are often more calculated and may be delivered with confidence, as the liar might feel justified in their actions. These lies can be particularly difficult to detect, as the person may have rehearsed them or is highly motivated to make others believe them. However, inconsistencies, overconfidence, or a lack of genuine emotion can be indicators that someone is lying for personal gain. Avoiding conflict. Lies are also commonly used to avoid conflict or uncomfortable situations. This can include lying to avoid an argument, to escape from a difficult conversation, or to prevent a confrontation. For example, someone might lie about their whereabouts to avoid a fight with their partner, or they might agree with someone's opinion, even if they don't truly believe it, to avoid a disagreement. Lies to avoid conflict are usually delivered quickly and with little elaboration, as the person may want to move past the situation as quickly as possible. These lies can be detected by looking for signs of discomfort, such as avoiding eye contact or displaying nervous behaviors. Habitual lying. Some people lie out of habit, often without any clear reason or benefit. This compulsive behavior can be linked to deeper psychological issues, such as low self-esteem, a need for attention, or a desire to feel in control. Habitual liars may tell small, inconsequential lies frequently, creating a web of deception that can eventually lead to more significant lies. Habitual liars often struggle to keep track of their lies, leading to inconsistencies and contradictions over time. Because their lies are frequent and often unnecessary, they may not exhibit the same signs of stress or anxiety as someone lying for a specific reason. However, the sheer volume of lies and the lack of clear motivation can be a red flag. Detecting lies in real time. While understanding the signs of deception and the reasons behind lying is essential, being able to detect lies in real time during a conversation is a valuable skill that requires practice, observation, and critical thinking. Establishing a baseline. One of the most important steps in detecting lies is to establish a baseline of normal behavior for the person you're interacting with. This includes understanding how they typically speak, move, and express themselves when they're telling the truth. By having this baseline, you can more easily spot deviations that might indicate deception. To establish a baseline, engage the person in a neutral conversation where there's no reason for them to lie. Observe their body language, speech patterns, and facial expressions during this time. Note how they respond to different types of questions and situations. This baseline will serve as your reference point when you suspect they might be lying later. Look for clusters of cues. As mentioned earlier, no single sign can definitively indicate deception. Instead, look for clusters of cues, multiple signs that occur together or in quick succession. For example, if someone is avoiding eye contact, fidgeting, and speaking with hesitation, these combined cues might suggest they are lying. When you observe a cluster of cues, consider the context and the stakes of the situation. Is the person under stress? Are they trying to protect themselves or someone else? By considering the broader context, you can make a more informed judgment about whether they might be lying. Ask open-ended questions. Open-ended questions can be a powerful tool in lie detection. These questions require more elaborate answers, making it harder for the person to maintain their lie. For example, instead of asking, "Did you go to the party?" ask, "What was the party like?" This forces the person to provide details, which can reveal inconsistencies or give you more opportunities to observe their behavior. When asking open-ended questions, pay attention not only to the content of the person's answers, but also to how they deliver them. Are they vague? Do they provide too much detail? Are there long pauses before they respond? These can all be indicators of deception. Observe their story over time. One of the most effective ways to detect lies is to observe how a person's story evolves over time. Ask them to recount their story multiple times, either in the same conversation or in future interactions. Liars often struggle to keep their story straight, especially when asked to repeat it. Look for changes in the sequence of events, the addition or omission of details, or shifts in how they describe their emotions and experiences. Create cognitive load. Lying requires more mental effort than telling the truth, as the person has to keep track of their fabricated story while also trying to appear truthful. You can increase this cognitive load by asking unexpected questions, requesting more detail than they anticipated, or switching topics suddenly and then returning to the original question. This added pressure can cause the liar to slip up, revealing inconsistencies or exhibiting signs of stress. For example, if someone is lying about where they were last night, ask them about specific details like who they were with, what they wore, or what they ate. Then, later in the conversation, ask them to recount the same details. The added cognitive load of remembering the lie and recalling the false details can make it easier to detect deception. Pay attention to microexpressions and microgestures. As mentioned earlier, microexpressions and microgestures are brief, often subconscious reactions that can reveal true emotions, even when someone is trying to hide them. While these cues are difficult to spot, with practice, you can become more attuned to them. When asking someone a direct question that they might lie about, watch their face closely for any fleeting expressions of fear, guilt, or anxiety. Similarly, watch for small, involuntary movements, such as a twitch of the hand, a quick glance away, or a slight shake of the head. These micro-reactions can be telling indicators of deception. Trust your intuition. While lie detection is often discussed in terms of specific techniques and observable cues, it's also important to trust your intuition. If something feels off, or you have a gut feeling that someone is lying, pay attention to that feeling. Your intuition is based on your subconscious picking up on subtle cues that your conscious mind might not immediately recognize. However, while intuition can be a valuable tool, it's important to balance it with observation and analysis. Don't rely solely on gut feelings. Use them as a starting point for further investigation and observation. Conclusion. Detecting lies and understanding deception are complex but highly valuable skills. By learning to recognize the signs of deception, understanding the psychology behind why people lie, and applying practical techniques in real-time conversations, you can become more adept at discerning truth from falsehood. Patrick King's Read People Like a Book provides a wealth of insights and strategies that can help you develop these skills, making you more effective in both your personal and professional interactions. As you practice these techniques, remember that lie detection is not an exact science, and no method is foolproof. Always consider the context, the individual's baseline behavior, and the broader situation before drawing conclusions. With time and experience, you can improve your ability to read people and navigate social situations with greater confidence and understanding. Chapter 6: Emotional Intelligence and Empathy. Understanding and interpreting emotions is a crucial aspect of reading people, as emotions often drive behavior and communication. Emotions are complex, and accurately identifying them in others can greatly enhance your ability to connect with and understand the people around you. In Patrick King's Read People Like a Book, he explores how developing emotional intelligence and empathy can improve your ability to interpret emotions and manage your own emotional responses effectively. At the core of reading emotions is the ability to observe and recognize the subtle cues that reveal what someone is feeling. Emotions are often expressed through body language, facial expressions, tone of voice, and even in the choice of words. By paying close attention to these signals, you can gain insights into a person's emotional state. For example, consider how someone's facial expression might shift during a conversation. A fleeting frown, a slight tightening of the lips, or the way their eyes narrow can all indicate underlying emotions such as frustration, anger, or suspicion. These microexpressions often occur in less than a second, but with practice, you can train yourself to notice them and understand what they might mean. In addition to facial expressions, body language is a powerful indicator of emotion. A person who is feeling anxious or nervous might exhibit restless movements, such as tapping their foot or playing with their hands. Conversely, someone who is feeling confident and relaxed might lean back in their chair with open and expansive body language. By observing these physical cues, you can better understand how someone is feeling, even if they don't explicitly express it. Tone of voice also plays a significant role in conveying emotions. The pitch, volume, and speed of speech can reveal much about how someone is feeling. For instance, a trembling or quavering voice might indicate fear or nervousness, while a monotone voice could suggest boredom or disengagement. On the other hand, a raised voice might signal anger or frustration. By listening carefully to these vocal cues, you can gain a deeper understanding of the emotions behind the words. Understanding the emotions of others goes beyond simply identifying what they are feeling. It also involves recognizing the intensity and context of those emotions. For example, a slight annoyance might be easily managed with a lighthearted response, while deep-seated anger might require a more thoughtful and measured approach. By gauging the intensity of an emotion, you can tailor your response to better address the situation. Context is also essential in interpreting emotions accurately. The same expression or behavior can have different meanings depending on the situation. For example, a person might appear nervous before a job interview, which is entirely expected given the circumstances. However, if they exhibit the same nervous behavior during a casual conversation, it might indicate that something else is bothering them. Understanding the context allows you to make more informed interpretations of emotional cues. Empathy, the ability to understand and share the feelings of another, is a vital tool for connecting with people on an emotional level. When you empathize with someone, you are not only recognizing their emotions, but also trying to see the world from their perspective. This deeper level of understanding fosters trust, strengthens relationships, and helps you respond more effectively to the needs of others. Empathy begins with active listening, truly paying attention to what someone is saying without judgment or distraction. By focusing on their words, tone, and body language, you can better understand their emotional state and what might be driving their feelings. Active listening also involves acknowledging the other person's emotions, either verbally or nonverbally, which shows that you are engaged and care about their experience. For example, if someone is expressing frustration about a difficult situation at work, an empathetic response might involve nodding in agreement, maintaining eye contact, and using phrases like, "I can see how that would be really challenging." These small gestures demonstrate that you are tuned in to their emotional experience and that you respect and validate their feelings. Empathy also involves putting yourself in the other person's shoes and considering how you might feel if you were in their situation. This perspective taking allows you to relate to their emotions more deeply and respond in a way that is supportive and understanding. It's about recognizing that everyone's emotional experience is unique, shaped by their individual circumstances, personality, and past experiences. One of the key benefits of empathy is that it helps to build rapport and strengthen connections. When people feel understood and supported, they are more likely to open up, trust you, and work collaboratively. This is particularly important in both personal relationships and professional environments, where strong connections can lead to more effective communication, problem solving, and overall satisfaction. However, empathy is not just about understanding others. It's also about managing your own emotional responses in social interactions. Emotional self-regulation is the ability to control your emotions and reactions, especially in situations where strong emotions could lead to unproductive or harmful behavior. Managing your emotions begins with self-awareness, recognizing your emotional triggers and understanding how different situations affect your mood and behavior. For example, if you know that you tend to become defensive when criticized, you can prepare yourself to respond more calmly and constructively in such situations. This awareness allows you to anticipate your emotional responses and take steps to manage them effectively. One effective technique for managing emotions is deep breathing. When you feel your emotions starting to escalate, taking slow, deep breaths can help calm your nervous system and reduce feelings of anxiety or anger. This simple practice can prevent you from reacting impulsively and give you the space to respond more thoughtfully. Another useful technique is cognitive reframing, which involves changing the way you think about a situation to alter your emotional response. For example, instead of viewing a critical comment as a personal attack, you might reframe it as an opportunity for growth and improvement. By shifting your perspective, you can reduce negative emotions and approach the situation with a more positive and constructive mindset. It's also important to set boundaries in emotionally charged situations. If you find yourself becoming overwhelmed or upset, it's okay to step away, take a break, or politely excuse yourself from the conversation. This allows you to regain your composure and approach the situation with a clearer, more balanced mindset. Practicing mindfulness can also be an effective way to manage your emotions. Mindfulness involves being fully present in the moment and observing your thoughts and feelings without judgment. By cultivating mindfulness, you can become more aware of your emotional responses and learn to observe them without becoming overwhelmed. This can help you stay calm and focused, even in challenging situations. Empathy and emotional intelligence are closely connected. When you can manage your own emotions effectively, you are better equipped to empathize with others. By maintaining emotional balance, you can respond to others with greater compassion, patience, and understanding, which strengthens your relationships and enhances your ability to read people accurately. In conclusion, developing emotional intelligence and empathy is essential for reading people and navigating social interactions effectively. By understanding and interpreting the emotions of others, using empathy to connect with them, and managing your own emotional responses, you can build stronger, more meaningful relationships. Patrick King's Read People Like a Book provides valuable insights and practical strategies for enhancing these skills, helping you become more attuned to the emotional dynamics at play in your interactions with others. Chapter 7: Personality Types and Archetypes. Understanding personality types is a powerful tool in reading people and improving your interactions with them. By gaining insight into how different personality types think, feel, and behave, you can tailor your communication and approach to better connect with others. In Read People Like a Book, Patrick King explores how understanding and identifying personality types can help you navigate social situations more effectively. Personality theories provide a framework for understanding the different ways people perceive the world and interact with it. One of the most well-known personality theories is the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, MBTI. The MBTI categorizes personalities into 16 distinct types based on 4 dichotomies: extroversion, E versus introversion, I; sensing, S versus intuition, N; thinking, T versus feeling, F; and judging, J versus perceiving, P. These dichotomies describe how people prefer to gain energy, process information, make decisions, and organize their lives. For example, someone with an ENFP personality type, extroverted, intuitive, feeling, perceiving, is likely to be enthusiastic, creative, and spontaneous. They may prefer open-ended plans and enjoy exploring new possibilities. On the other hand, an ISTJ personality type, introverted, sensing, thinking, judging, might be more reserved, practical, and detail-oriented, with a preference for structure and order. Another widely recognized personality framework is the Big Five, also known as the Five-Factor Model, FFM. The Big Five identifies 5 broad dimensions of personality: openness to experience, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. Each of these dimensions represents a spectrum, with individuals falling somewhere along the continuum for each trait. Openness to experience refers to the degree to which a person is open to new ideas, experiences, and creativity. Conscientiousness involves being organized, dependable, and disciplined. Extroversion is associated with being outgoing, energetic, and sociable, while agreeableness relates to being cooperative, compassionate, and friendly. Neuroticism describes the tendency to experience negative emotions such as anxiety, anger, or depression. Understanding these dimensions can help you assess where someone might fall on each spectrum and predict how they might react in different situations. For instance, a person high in neuroticism might be more prone to stress or emotional reactions, while someone high in conscientiousness is likely to be reliable and thorough in their work. Another approach to understanding personality involves archetypes, which are universal symbolic patterns that represent different aspects of human nature. Carl Jung, a Swiss psychologist, introduced the concept of archetypes, suggesting that these patterns reside in the collective unconscious and shape our behavior and experiences. Common archetypes include the hero, the caregiver, the rebel, the explorer, and the sage. Each archetype represents a set of traits and behaviors that are common across different cultures and societies. For example, the hero archetype is characterized by courage, determination, and a desire to overcome challenges. The caregiver is nurturing, compassionate, and focused on helping others. By recognizing these archetypes in the people around you, you can gain insight into their motivations and values, which can guide how you interact with them. When assessing someone's personality type, it's important to pay attention to both their behavior and communication style. Behavioral cues can include how they approach tasks, interact with others, and respond to challenges. For example, someone who prefers to work independently and focuses on details may be more introverted and conscientious. In contrast, someone who thrives in social settings and enjoys brainstorming new ideas may exhibit traits of extroversion and openness. Communication style is another key indicator of personality. People who are direct and logical in their speech may lean toward a thinking preference, while those who prioritize harmony and express themselves with empathy might have a feeling preference. Similarly, someone who communicates in a structured, organized manner may have a judging preference, while those who are more flexible and open-ended in their communication may align with a perceiving preference. It's also important to consider how people respond to different environments. Some individuals thrive in structured, predictable settings, while others prefer dynamic, ever-changing environments. This can provide clues about whether they lean more toward judging or perceiving, for example. Using personality insights effectively involves adapting your approach to fit the personality type of the person you're dealing with. For instance, if you're interacting with someone who has a strong preference for structure and order, a judging type, it may be beneficial to provide clear instructions, deadlines, and expectations. On the other hand, if you're dealing with someone who is more spontaneous and open to new experiences, a perceiving type, giving them flexibility and room for creativity might lead to better outcomes. Understanding personality types also allows you to anticipate potential conflicts and address them proactively. For example, if you know that someone is highly conscientious and detail-oriented, they might become frustrated with a colleague who is more laid back and less focused on the finer points. By recognizing these differences, you can help mediate the situation by encouraging clear communication and setting expectations that accommodate both personality types. In leadership or team settings, understanding the diverse personalities of your team members can help you assign roles and responsibilities that align with their strengths. For instance, someone with high extroversion and openness might excel in a role that involves innovation and collaboration, while someone with high conscientiousness and introversion might be better suited to tasks that require focus and attention to detail. Additionally, understanding personality types can enhance your ability to persuade and influence others. By tailoring your message to resonate with the values and preferences of the person you're communicating with, you're more likely to gain their support and cooperation. For example, when persuading someone who values tradition and stability, a sensing judging type, emphasizing the reliability and proven success of your proposal might be more effective than focusing on novel, untested ideas. When working with different personality types, it's important to maintain flexibility and avoid making assumptions. While personality theories provide valuable insights, each individual is unique, and people's behavior can vary depending on the situation. Therefore, it's essential to approach each interaction with an open mind and a willingness to adapt your approach as needed. Moreover, recognizing your own personality type and how it influences your behavior and interactions can help you become more self-aware and improve your relationships with others. By understanding your strengths and potential blind spots, you can work on developing areas where you might be less naturally inclined and adjust your behavior to better suit different situations. In summary, understanding personality types and archetypes is a valuable tool for reading people and improving your interactions with them. By recognizing the different ways people think, feel, and behave, you can tailor your communication and approach to better connect with others, anticipate potential conflicts, and leverage the strengths of diverse personalities in team settings. Patrick King's Read People Like a Book offers practical strategies for applying these insights to enhance your social interactions and build stronger, more effective relationships. Chapter 8: Advanced Techniques in Reading. Advanced techniques in reading people go beyond simply observing their body language, tone of voice, or facial expressions. These techniques involve a deeper understanding of human behavior, psychology, and context, allowing you to make more accurate and informed judgments about a person's thoughts, feelings, and intentions. In Patrick King's Read People Like a Book, he explores these advanced techniques, offering insights into how to refine your ability to read people and predict their behavior with greater precision. One such technique is cold reading, a method often associated with psychics or mentalists, but which can be used in everyday interactions to make educated guesses about a person's background, personality, and situation. Cold reading involves picking up on subtle cues, such as a person's appearance, mannerisms, or speech patterns, and using this information to form a profile or make predictions about them. While it may seem like a trick, cold reading is largely about paying close attention to details and understanding the probabilities of certain characteristics or behaviors. For instance, consider meeting someone for the first time at a social gathering. Through cold reading, you might notice they have a wedding ring, which suggests they are married. Their clothing style might indicate their profession or social class, and their body language can provide clues about their confidence level or mood. If they mention a hobby or interest, you can use that information to further infer their personality traits or values. By combining these observations, you can make educated guesses about their life and tailor your conversation accordingly. Cold reading also involves making broad statements that are likely to apply to most people, then observing how the person reacts to refine your understanding. For example, you might say something like, "I sense you're someone who values honesty, but can be reserved when meeting new people." This statement is broad enough to apply to many individuals, but their reaction, whether they nod in agreement or seem indifferent, can provide additional clues about their personality. A related technique is hot reading, which involves using pre-existing knowledge about a person to enhance your ability to read them. Unlike cold reading, where you rely solely on the information you can gather in the moment, hot reading allows you to draw on any background information you already have. This could be something you learned from mutual acquaintances, social media, or previous interactions. For example, if you know from a friend that someone recently got promoted at work, you might observe their behavior at a party to see how they're handling their new role. Are they more confident, or do they seem stressed? Are they talking more about their job, or are they trying to avoid the subject? By combining your prior knowledge with real-time observations, you can gain a deeper understanding of their current state of mind. Hot reading is particularly useful in professional settings where you often have access to background information about colleagues, clients, or business partners. By doing your homework before a meeting, you can enter the conversation with a better understanding of the other person's priorities, challenges, and interests, which allows you to tailor your approach and build rapport more effectively. Another advanced technique is predicting behavior based on a thorough understanding of a person's personality and past behavior. People are creatures of habit, and their actions are often consistent with their established patterns of behavior. By paying attention to how someone has acted in similar situations in the past, you can anticipate how they might behave in the future. For instance, if you know that a colleague tends to become defensive when their ideas are challenged, you can predict that they might react similarly during a heated team discussion. Knowing this, you can choose to approach the conversation in a way that minimizes confrontation perhaps by framing your feedback more diplomatically or by offering support before introducing a counterpoint. To predict behavior accurately, it's essential to understand the key drivers behind a person's actions. These drivers can include their core values, emotional triggers, and underlying motivations. For example, someone who values achievement and recognition is likely to work hard and seek opportunities for advancement. If their achievements are not acknowledged, they might become frustrated or demotivated. Understanding these drivers allows you to anticipate how they will react to different scenarios and tailor your interactions to align with their motivations. In social situations, predicting behavior can help you navigate group dynamics more effectively. If you observe that certain individuals tend to dominate conversations, you can predict that they will likely do so again and plan your participation accordingly. This might involve finding moments to interject strategically or focusing on engaging with quieter group members who might appreciate the opportunity to contribute. Predicting behavior also involves recognizing patterns in how people respond to stress or pressure. For example, some individuals might become more assertive and take charge in high-pressure situations, while others might withdraw or become indecisive. By understanding these patterns, you can better support and collaborate with others, especially in challenging circumstances. Moreover, predicting behavior extends to understanding how people are likely to interpret and react to different communication styles. If you know someone prefers direct, straightforward communication, you can predict that they will respond well to clear and concise messages. Conversely, if someone values tact and diplomacy, you might predict that they will appreciate a more nuanced approach. One of the key benefits of these advanced techniques is that they allow you to be more proactive in your interactions. Instead of merely reacting to what others say or do, you can anticipate their needs, concerns, and reactions, which enables you to influence the outcome of a situation more effectively. However, it's important to remember that while these techniques can provide valuable insights, they are not foolproof. Human behavior is complex and can be influenced by a wide range of factors, including mood, context, and external circumstances. Therefore, it's crucial to remain flexible and open-minded, ready to adjust your approach if your predictions don't align with reality. Additionally, these techniques should be used ethically and responsibly. Reading people and predicting behavior can give you a significant advantage in social interactions, but it's essential to respect the privacy and autonomy of others. The goal is not to manipulate or control people, but to understand them better and build more meaningful and effective relationships. In practice, mastering these advanced techniques requires patience, observation, and a willingness to learn from each interaction. The more you practice cold reading, hot reading, and predicting behavior, the more intuitive these skills will become. Over time, you'll develop a sharper sense of how to read people and anticipate their actions, making you a more effective communicator and a more empathetic and understanding individual. Patrick King's Read People Like a Book provides practical strategies for applying these advanced techniques in everyday life. By honing these skills, you can enhance your ability to navigate social interactions with confidence and ease, whether in personal relationships, professional settings, or casual encounters. Chapter 9, Practical Applications. Applying the skills of reading people can profoundly impact various areas of life, from the workplace to personal relationships and social situations. In Patrick King's Read People Like a Book, he emphasizes that understanding and interpreting the behavior, emotions, and intentions of others can lead to more effective communication, stronger relationships, and greater success in navigating complex social dynamics. This chapter explores how you can practically apply these skills in different contexts to achieve positive outcomes. In the workplace, the ability to read people is a valuable asset that can enhance teamwork, leadership, and negotiation. In a professional environment, understanding your colleagues' and clients' personalities, motivations, and emotional states allows you to tailor your approach to maximize cooperation and productivity. For example, in team settings, being able to recognize each team member's strengths and weaknesses can help you assign tasks that align with their abilities and preferences, leading to better performance and job satisfaction. If you're a leader, reading people helps you manage your team more effectively. By understanding the individual needs and working styles of your team members, you can provide the right support and guidance, fostering a positive and productive work environment. For instance, some employees may need clear instructions and regular feedback, while others might thrive with more autonomy and creative freedom. Recognizing these differences enables you to adapt your leadership style to meet the needs of each person, which can improve morale and reduce turnover. In negotiations, the ability to read your counterpart's body language, tone of voice, and behavioral cues gives you an edge in understanding their true intentions and priorities. This insight allows you to adjust your strategy accordingly, whether it's by offering concessions on points that are less critical to them or by pushing harder on issues where you sense they might be more flexible. For instance, if you notice that your counterpart becomes more relaxed when discussing a particular topic, it might indicate that they're willing to compromise on that issue. Conversely, if they become tense or defensive, it might be a sign that you've touched on a sensitive point. In personal relationships, reading people can greatly enhance communication and understanding, leading to deeper and more fulfilling connections. Whether it's with a partner, family member, or close friend, being able to accurately interpret their emotions and intentions can help you respond in a way that strengthens the relationship. For example, if your partner seems distant or withdrawn, rather than assuming they're upset with you, you might recognize signs of stress or fatigue and offer support or space as needed. Understanding nonverbal cues, such as body language and facial expressions, is particularly important in personal relationships. Often, people may not express their feelings directly, but their nonverbal signals can reveal what they're truly experiencing. For instance, a slight change in posture or a fleeting expression of sadness can indicate underlying emotions that they might not be ready to discuss openly. By picking up on these cues, you can address issues before they escalate, offering empathy and reassurance when it's most needed. In addition to nonverbal cues, paying attention to someone's communication style and patterns can provide valuable insights into their personality and preferences. Some people might be more direct and assertive in their communication, while others might prefer a more subtle and indirect approach. Recognizing these differences allows you to adapt your communication style to match theirs, which can lead to more effective and harmonious interactions. For example, if you're dealing with someone who tends to avoid conflict, you might choose to address sensitive topics more gently, focusing on finding common ground rather than confronting them directly. In social situations, reading people helps you navigate complex social dynamics and improve your interactions with others. Whether you're at a party, networking event, or casual gathering, being able to read the room and understand the unspoken social cues can make you more confident and effective in your interactions. For example, if you notice that a group of people is particularly animated and engaged in conversation, it might be a good opportunity to join in and contribute to the discussion. On the other hand, if you sense that someone is feeling uncomfortable or left out, you can take the initiative to include them, which can help build rapport and strengthen your social connections. Reading people in social situations also involves understanding the power dynamics and social hierarchies that may be at play. For instance, in a networking event, identifying the key influencers or decision makers in the room can help you prioritize your interactions and make meaningful connections that can advance your goals. By observing how others interact with these individuals, you can gain insights into their personalities and preferences, which can inform your approach when it's your turn to engage with them. Another practical application of reading people in social settings is managing first impressions. First impressions are often formed within seconds of meeting someone and can significantly influence the outcome of your interaction. By reading the other person's body language and tone, you can adjust your own behavior to make a positive and lasting impression. For example, if you sense that the person you're meeting is nervous or unsure, offering a warm smile and maintaining open body language can help put them at ease and create a more comfortable atmosphere. Furthermore, reading people can help you avoid misunderstandings and resolve conflicts more effectively. Social situations can sometimes be fraught with miscommunications, where people misinterpret each other's intentions or feelings. By accurately reading the other person's emotional state and perspective, you can clarify misunderstandings and address any underlying issues before they escalate into a full-blown conflict. For example, if a friend seems upset after a comment you made, recognizing their discomfort and addressing it immediately can prevent a rift in your relationship. In group settings, reading people also allows you to facilitate more inclusive and balanced conversations. By paying attention to who is speaking and who might be holding back, you can encourage quieter individuals to share their thoughts and ensure that everyone's voice is heard. This not only improves the quality of the discussion, but also fosters a sense of belonging and respect within the group. In summary, the practical applications of reading people are vast and can significantly enhance your effectiveness in various areas of life. In the workplace, these skills can improve teamwork, leadership, and negotiation, leading to better outcomes and a more harmonious work environment. In personal relationships, reading people can deepen your connections and improve communication, resulting in stronger and more fulfilling relationships. In social situations, being able to read and interpret social cues allows you to navigate complex dynamics with confidence, build meaningful connections, and make positive impressions. Patrick King's Read People Like a Book offers valuable insights and strategies for mastering these skills, empowering you to become more adept at understanding and interacting with the people around you. Chapter 10: Ethical Considerations. When developing the skill of reading people, it's important to consider the ethical implications of such knowledge. While understanding and interpreting others' behavior can significantly enhance your interactions and relationships, it also comes with a responsibility to use these skills ethically. Patrick King's Read People Like a Book touches on these ethical considerations, emphasizing the importance of integrity and respect when applying these techniques in real life. One of the key ethical considerations is ensuring that your ability to read people is used to foster positive and constructive relationships rather than to manipulate or control others. The skills you develop should be aimed at improving communication, enhancing mutual understanding, and building trust. It's crucial to avoid using your insights into others' behavior and emotions to manipulate them for your own gain. Manipulation involves influencing someone's behavior or decisions in a way that benefits you, often at the expense of their well-being or autonomy. For example, if you notice that someone is vulnerable or uncertain, using that knowledge to push them into making decisions they might not be comfortable with would be unethical. Instead, you should aim to support and empower them, helping them feel more confident and informed in their choices. Ethical use of these skills involves creating a space where both parties feel respected and valued, rather than using your understanding of their emotions to steer them in a direction that serves only your interests. Respecting others' boundaries is another critical aspect of ethical behavior when reading people. While you might become adept at noticing subtle cues about how someone is feeling or what they might be thinking, it's important to recognize when it's appropriate to act on that knowledge and when it's better to step back. Everyone has a right to their privacy, and even if you can sense that someone is upset or anxious, it doesn't always mean that they want to discuss it or have you intervene. For instance, if you perceive that a colleague is stressed, but they haven't expressed a desire to talk about it, pressing them for details or trying to offer unsolicited advice could be intrusive. Respecting their boundaries means acknowledging their right to manage their emotions and situations in their own way, without feeling pressured by your observations. Instead, a more ethical approach might involve simply letting them know you're available to listen if they ever want to talk, allowing them to set the terms of any interaction. It's also important to consider the context in which you use your skills. In some situations, such as professional environments or casual social settings, it may be inappropriate or even harmful to delve too deeply into someone's personal feelings or thoughts. Understanding the appropriate level of engagement for each context is essential to using your skills ethically. For example, reading the emotions of a business client during a negotiation should be done with a focus on reaching a mutually beneficial outcome, rather than exploiting their vulnerabilities to secure a better deal for yourself. Another ethical consideration is the transparency and honesty with which you use your skills. Being open about your intentions can help ensure that your actions are perceived as genuine and respectful. For example, if you're using your understanding of someone's behavior to improve communication, it can be helpful to explain your approach and seek their input. This fosters a collaborative atmosphere where both parties feel involved and respected, rather than feeling like they're being subtly influenced without their consent. Furthermore, it's crucial to continuously reflect on your motivations when using these skills. Ask yourself whether your actions are aimed at benefiting both yourself and the other person, or if they're primarily self-serving. Maintaining a mindset of empathy and compassion can help guide your decisions, ensuring that you use your understanding of others to support and uplift them, rather than to manipulate or take advantage of them. Lastly, understanding the limitations of your abilities is an important part of ethical practice. No matter how skilled you become at reading people, it's vital to remember that your interpretations are not infallible. People are complex, and their behavior can be influenced by countless factors that you may not be aware of. Being humble about your skills and recognizing that you can never fully understand another person's inner world is crucial to avoiding overreach and respecting their autonomy. Mastering the art of reading people is a journey that doesn't have a definitive endpoint. It's a continuous process of learning, adapting, and refining your skills. Throughout life, you'll encounter new situations, meet different kinds of people, and face challenges that require you to deepen your understanding of human behavior. Patrick King's Read People Like a Book emphasizes that this skill is not something you can simply acquire and be done with. Rather, it's a lifelong practice that evolves as you grow and gain more experience. One of the key takeaways from King's book is that reading people is as much about understanding yourself as it is about understanding others. As you develop this skill, you become more attuned to your own reactions, biases, and emotional responses. This self-awareness is crucial because it allows you to approach others with greater empathy and objectivity. For instance, by recognizing your own triggers and emotional patterns, you can prevent them from clouding your judgment when interpreting someone else's behavior. This self-reflection also helps you to remain open-minded and flexible, which is essential when dealing with the complexity of human nature. Continued practice is vital to mastering the art of reading people. Like any other skill, it requires regular and deliberate effort to improve. You'll need to practice observing people in various contexts, paying attention to both verbal and nonverbal cues, and reflecting on the accuracy of your interpretations. It's also important to seek feedback from others and learn from your mistakes. For example, if you misinterpret someone's actions or intentions, take the time to understand why and how you can adjust your approach in the future. One practical way to keep refining your skills is to engage in active listening. This involves not just hearing the words people say, but also paying close attention to the tone, pitch, and rhythm of their speech, as well as their body language and facial expressions. Active listening helps you to pick up on subtle cues that might otherwise go unnoticed, allowing you to gain a deeper understanding of the person you're interacting with. Additionally, by practicing active listening, you demonstrate respect and genuine interest in others, which can strengthen your relationships and enhance your ability to read people accurately. Another aspect of continued practice is exposing yourself to diverse perspectives and experiences. By interacting with people from different backgrounds, cultures, and walks of life, you expand your understanding of the various factors that influence behavior. This diversity of experience enriches your ability to read people because it broadens your awareness of the different ways in which people express themselves. It also helps you to recognize and challenge your own assumptions and stereotypes, leading to more accurate and empathetic interpretations of others. The benefits of being able to read people effectively are numerous and far-reaching. On a personal level, it can lead to more meaningful and fulfilling relationships. By understanding the emotions, motivations, and needs of your loved ones, you can communicate more effectively, resolve conflicts more easily, and build stronger connections. For instance, being able to sense when a friend or family member is upset, even if they don't explicitly say so, allows you to offer support and comfort when it's most needed. This deepens the trust and closeness in your relationships, fostering a sense of security and mutual understanding. In a professional context, the ability to read people can significantly enhance your effectiveness as a leader, team member, or negotiator. It allows you to navigate complex interpersonal dynamics, understand the unspoken needs and concerns of your colleagues or clients, and make decisions that are informed by a nuanced understanding of the people involved. For example, as a leader, being able to recognize when a team member is feeling overwhelmed or disengaged enables you to address the issue proactively, whether by offering additional support, adjusting their workload, or simply checking in to see how they're doing. This not only improves the well-being of your team, but also boosts productivity and morale. Moreover, in negotiation scenarios, the ability to read the other party's emotions and intentions can give you a significant advantage. By accurately interpreting their signals, you can gauge when to push forward, when to hold back, and when to offer compromises. This strategic use of people reading skills can lead to more favorable outcomes and stronger professional relationships, as it demonstrates that you are attuned to the needs and priorities of others. On a broader social level, the ability to read people effectively can enhance your overall social intelligence, making you more adept at navigating social situations, building networks, and fostering positive interactions. Whether you're attending a social gathering, participating in a community event, or engaging in casual conversation, understanding the social cues and dynamics at play can help you to connect with others more easily and create a positive impression. This not only enriches your social life, but also opens up new opportunities for personal and professional growth. As you continue to practice and refine your ability to read people, it's important to remember the ethical considerations that accompany this skill. While understanding others can give you a significant advantage in various aspects of life, it's essential to use this knowledge responsibly and with integrity. Avoid using your skills to manipulate or control others, and always respect their boundaries and autonomy. By approaching people reading with empathy, respect, and a genuine desire to understand and connect, you can ensure that your actions contribute to positive and constructive relationships. In conclusion, reading people is a powerful skill that offers numerous benefits, both personally and professionally. However, it requires continuous practice, self-reflection, and a commitment to ethical behavior. Patrick King's Read People Like a Book provides valuable insights and strategies for developing this skill, encouraging readers to approach it as an ongoing journey of learning and growth. By mastering the art of reading people, you can enhance your interactions, deepen your relationships, and navigate the complexities of human behavior with greater confidence and understanding.